Marigolds glowed under Austin's streetlights. The Dia de los Muertos concert, humming with voices as Eli Torres, 45, bent over his guitar, tuning strings for his youth choir. The crowd clapped, kids he'd taught to harmonize, when his phone buzzed sharp. Sophia's text, remixed Dad's old tracks, big hit. His fingers froze, a string snapping with a shrill twang, the sound slicing through the night. His compositions, years of late-night chords for these kids, now hers, topping SoundCloud charts. "Who steals a brother's soul?" he muttered, voice lost to the cheers, his calloused thumb brushing the broken string. He saw Sophia at 20, dancing to his first riff in their garage. "You're a genius, Eli," now a thief in his spotlight. The choir's notes wavered, his chest tight, as marigolds blurred. "My work," he rasped, the phone's glow a taunt, $50,000 in royalties gone, with Carmen's silent nod. Applause swelled, but his hands shook. Betrayal a chord he couldn't unplay, tugging him back to a family he'd tuned too long. The Austin breeze carried marigold petals past the concert stage, their scent sharp as Eli clutched his broken-stringed guitar. Sophia's text, remixed Dad's tracks, big hit, still searing his eyes. His mind drifted to the Torres house, a squat bungalow on the east side, where Carmen's voice once lifted Sunday choirs to the rafters. At 70, she'd been their maestro, her hymnals a thread through this Latinx block. Eli, now 45, had soundproofed the garage, nails biting his palms, to craft songs for her, for them. Sophia, 38, last June, turned those chords into SoundCloud gold, her remixes echoing from car stereos, while Carmen beamed, "Our little star." Eli's late nights, coffee cold, strings buzzing, faded to her shadow. "I built that stage," he muttered, boots scuffing the platform, the phone a weight in his pocket. He saw Sophia at 16, humming his riffs by the porch. "You're my muse, Eli." A muse she'd mined, leaving him mute. Austin sprawled beyond. Taco trucks, church bells. A rhythm he'd scored, now stolen. He gripped the guitar neck, wood groaning, the kids' applause a distant hum. Carmen's Familia Primero rang hollow. She'd sung it at 50, arms around them both at Dia de los Muertos, marigolds in her hair. Sophia rose on his notes, and he sank, pride souring fast. "All my sound," he growled, the broken string curling like a scar, a history he'd strummed too long, unraveling into a rift he couldn't tune out. Organ notes swelled through St. Mary's cracked pews, and Austin dusk, painting the stained glass gold, as Eli, then 44, adjusted mics for Carmen's choir rehearsal a year back. The air buzzed with hymns, taco truck grease wafting from the lot, when Sophia swept in, 37, earbuds dangling, her latest remix thumping. Eli caught her arm, voice steady. "Those chords, I wrote them, Sophie. Credit me." She smirked, pulling free. "They're ours now. Chill, Eli, it's just music." Heads turned, Mrs. Lopez from the altos frowning, as his jaw tightened, mic stand wobbling in his grip. Carmen shuffled over, her choir robe swaying, eyes sharp despite her age. "She's right, mijo," she said, patting Sophia's shoulder. "You're too rigid. Let her shine." The words hit like a dropped chord, the organ droning on. "Shine?" Eli snapped, voice rising. "I'm bleeding nights for this choir while she cashes my soul." Sophia laughed, phone out, filming. "Drama king, nobody's begging you to play martyr." The choir hushed, Mrs. Lopez whispering to her neighbor, Eli's boots scuffing the tile. "Credit's not martyrdom," he growled. He slammed the stand, metal clanged, echoing off the rafters. Carmen's face hardened. Familia primero, Elias. Don't dim her light. Dim her, when he'd lit it. Sophia posted by nightfall. Choir vibes. Haters stay stiff. Views spiked. His plea cropped out. He saw her at 18, begging him to mix her first track. You're my sound, Eli. Now she drowned him out. They picked her, he rasped. The hymn fading, a rift splitting deeper than the pews could hold. Back at the concert, the broken string dangled. Sophia's theft, a note he couldn't unhear, dragging him toward a betrayal he'd soon face, unmasked. A ceiling fan rattled in Eli's cramped Austin office. The Dia de los Muertos applause still ringing as he slumped over his guitar. Sophia's text glowing like a wound. Javi burst in, his sound engineer's headphones swinging. He slammed a stack of royalty records on the desk. Look, he barked, flipping pages. $50,000 traced to Sophia's SoundCloud hits, every chord Eli's. Eli's breath caught, fingers clawing the paper, titles he'd scribbled for the choir. Now her viral remixes. Carmen knew? He croaked, chair scraping as he stood, the fan's hum mocking his haze. Javi nodded grimly. Caught her on the phone. She said it's family art, no big deal. Eli's pulse roared, seeing Sophia at 22, crashing his couch with a demo. You're my rhythm, Eli. Now a thief with their mom's shrug. Family art? He snarled, hurling the records, pages scattered like ash across the tile. The choir rift, too rigid, echoed. This blow a gut punch deeper than hymns. Javi steadied the desk, voice low. We've got timestamps. Proof it's yours. Eli's fists balled. The Austin night pressing hot through the window. Sophia's beats thumping somewhere out there. His soul, her cash. They gutted me, he rasped. Carmen's casual nod, a blade twisting sharper than Sophia's smirk. Trust splintered. A cord snapped beyond repair, shoving him toward a fight he couldn't dodge anymore. Fluorescent lights buzzed in the Austin Clinic's sterile hall, casting jagged shadows as Eli pushed through. The royalty records crumpled in his fist. Carmen lay propped on a cot, oxygen tubes hissing, her choir director hands frail at 70. Javi called, he said, voice rough, tossing the papers by her side. Sophia stole my songs, $50,000, and you knew? Her eyes flickered, still sharp, lips curling faintly. She's our voice, Elias, she wheezed, unrepentant. You're strong, you'll keep strumming. Let her soar. The words sank like lead, his boots scuffing the linoleum as he loomed over her. Soar, he barked, voice cracking. On my broken strings? Carmen's gaze hardened, a hymn's echo in her rasp. Familia primero. She's taking us higher. Don't clip her wings. Eli's chest burned. Her higher, a slap over years of midnight riffs. His phone pinged, Sophia's SoundCloud, a new remix. His chords warped under her beat. Captioned, Torres Legacy Vibes. Comments surged, Sophia's fire. Not a hint of his sweat. He saw her at 25, begging him to tweak her vocals. You're my fix, Eli. Now she'd fixed him out. Legacy? He rasped. Slamming the cot rail, metal clanging sharp. She's burying me alive. Carmen coughed, waving him off. You're too loud, mijo. Always were. Loud, when he'd silenced himself for them. Sophia's remix looped in his skull, her eyes a knife twisting deeper with each note. They're rewriting me, he growled, hands trembling. The clinic's antiseptic sting mirroring his own. Javi's proof sat heavy, but Carmen's shrug cut worse. A wall he couldn't break, driving him to dig for the truth they'd never confess. Dust swirled in the Torres garage's dim light. The Austin night pressing humid through warped wood as Eli pried open Carmen's old cassette box. His fingers, still raw from the clinic rail, shook. Sophia's remix thumped faintly from a neighbor's yard, a taunt on repeat. Javi crouched beside him, sound engineer's ears sharp, pulling a tape labeled Choir 98. "This one," he said, slotting it into a dusty player. Static crackled. Then Eli's chords, his teenage riffs, sang out, unmistakable under Carmen's hymn. "That's me," he rasped, voice breaking. The melody, now Sophia's viral Torres legacy. Javi flipped through more, tapes, CDs, timestamps, each a piece of Eli stolen. "She's been lifting you for years," Javi growled, stacking evidence. "Carmen's handwriting, Sophia's demos, on your work." Eli's gut twisted, seeing Sophia at 19, begging him to record her first track. "You're my sound, Eli." Trust he'd strung, now strummed by her greed. "They played me," he muttered, slamming a fist into the workbench. Tools rattled, echoing his pulse. The Austin heat clung, a shroud over his unraveling. He saw Carmen at 55, Dia de los Muertos, directing him to back Sophia's solo. "You're her Harmony, mijo." Harmony. He'd been her ghostwriter. Javi scrolled Sophia's SoundCloud, downloads spiking, comments buzzing, family vibes, whispers drifted from the block. Mrs. Lopez at the taqueria. Eli's too stiff for Sophia's shine. "Stiff?" he snarled, kicking a crate. It splintered, spilling old sheet music, his, not hers. "I gave them my voice," he rasped, throat tight, the tapes a mirror to his fade. Javi grabbed his arm, firm. "We've got dates. Court will hear this." Eli's eyes burned, Sophia's spin gaining ground, the community's hum turning sour. Trust was a broken string, and the proof cut deeper, pushing him toward a fight they'd feel in their bones. Taco grease sizzled on East Side grills, the Austin dawn streaking orange as Eli stepped from the garage. Carmen's tapes heavy in his backpack. His phone buzzed. Sophia's SoundCloud Live. Her voice quavered under porch lights. "Family struggles. My brother's holding me back." Views hit 10K. Comments exploding. "Eli's selfish. Sophia's the real deal." Mrs. Lopez's handle flashed. "Always too stiff." Eli's knees buckled, the backpack thudding to the curb, breath fogging fast in the crisp air. "She flipped it," he growled, hands clawing his hair. The remix's beat pulsing from a passing truck. His chords, her crown. He'd coached Mrs. Lopez's kid, fixed her speakers, now her selfish carved deep. "They're buying it," he rasped, scrolling, texts from the choir. "Back off, Eli. A taqueria regular. Don't show up." He saw Sophia at 21, giggling as he mixed her tracks. "You're my crew, Eli." Crew turned mob, cheering her lie. He kicked the curb, concrete biting his boot. The street's hum turning cold. "I'm out," he muttered. But the sting burned. Out meant nothing here. Sophia's post jumped to 15K. "Family fight. Support me." Marigolds from the concert rotting in his mind. He'd strung their hymns, tuned their kids, now a ghost in his own block. A pickup roared by, Mr. Ruiz leaning out. "Quit whining, Torres." His glare a brick. "They're hers," Eli rasped, tapes pressing his spine. Carmen's "Let Her Shine," a hymn they all sang now. The choir's silence deafened him. Sophia's spin a noose, tightening fast, pulling him toward a courtroom where he'd stand alone with strings they'd never hear. Wood creaked under restless feet in Austin's civil courtroom, the air thick with coffee and tension as Eli Torres, 45, gripped Javi's stack of tapes, his knuckles white. The judge, a wiry man with a Dia de los Muertos pin, squinted at the docket. "They stole my songs," Eli said, voice cutting sharp, shoving the evidence forward. Cassettes, timestamps, his teenage chords, now Sophia's hits. $50,000. My work, their profit. The gallery, Mrs. Lopez, Mr. Ruiz, shifted, eyes darting. Sophia stood across, 38, in a sleek jacket, her SoundCloud poise fraying. It's shared art, Your Honor, she said, smooth as a remix. Eli wanted me to shine. He's just sour now. Her glance flicked to him, a shadow of their garage jams, then steel. Shared? Eli roared, slamming the table. The bang ricocheted off chipped walls. I bled for those notes. You didn't ask. The judge's brow furrowed, flipping through Javi's logs. Mrs. Lopez muttered, too loud. Eli's chest heaved. Seeing Sophia at 17, strumming his guitar by the porch. You're my sound, Eli. Trust he'd tuned, now cashed out. Why's your name on it? The judge asked, voice flat. Eli's throat locked. 'Cause I was the fool who gave, he rasped, hands shaking, till they plucked me dry. Sophia's lip quivered. Act or crack? Then steadied fast. Javi slid more proof, recordings syncing with her uploads. Check the dates, he urged. Eli's boots scuffed. Carmen's let her shine, a ghost in the room. The judge tapped his pen. Conflicting claims, needs unraveling. Eli's pulse thundered. The gallery's stares, Lopez's, Ruiz's, boring in. Sophia's shared art, a match poised to spark a fire he'd either fan or snuff, depending on the gavel's fall. A courthouse door slammed shut, the Austin dusk swallowing its echo as Eli trudged out. Javi's tapes heavy in his hands. His phone flared, Sophia's SoundCloud Live. Her under East Side string lights, voice trembling. My brother's bitter. He's suing to kill my music. She waved a mic, captioned, Family Feud, support me. Views rocketed to 20,000. Comments blazing. Eli's a jerk. Sophia's the heart, Mrs. Lopez typed. Knew he'd drag her down. Eli's legs buckled, the curb catching him. Breath ragged in the humid air. So, what's your take? Eli's strung between family and the chords they stole. Burn them down or let them play on. Drop your vote below. Blood or justice? What wins? Stick around. The gavel's falling soon, and it'll cut a line he can't restring. A choice that'll echo louder than this bench's groan. Sunlight sliced through the courthouse blinds. Dust motes swirling as the gavel cracked in Austin's civil chamber, silencing the hum. Eli Torres, 45, stood rigid. Javi's tapes clutched tight. The judge's voice rang. Copyright proven. Elias Torres regains his compositions. The gallery, Mrs. Lopez, Mr. Ruiz, froze. Stares blank. Sophia slumped across the aisle. Her SoundCloud sheen dulled. Jacket creased on the bench. Eli's chest tightened, victory sharp as a snapped string. Carmen's plea, don't break her, a burr in his ribs. He fingered the photo in his pocket. Dia de los Muertos grins, now frayed. She shuffled over, boots scuffing, voice low, cracked. Eli, I blew it. Wanted to outplay this town, outplay you. She slid a crumpled note. Sophia's raw tracks, unplugged, her scrawl shaky. No cash, just me. Please? Her eyes flickered, raw. Not the remix queen, but the kid who'd hummed his riffs. He saw her at 18, begging him to mix her demo. You're my sound, Eli. A sound he'd shaped, she'd snatched. You think I'd restring us now? He rasped, pushing the note back, boots scraping as he turned. She flinched, nodding slow. Had to try. For me, not us. The honesty stung sharper than her vlogs. Need, not greed, staring back. He'd won. Saved his kid's future. But her crack wasn't a play. It was a mirror to his own ache to stand real. I don't need your tune, he said, voice firming, stepping past. Javi's nod from the door, steady, sure, followed him out. Sophia's soft, I get it, trailed him. Lost to the courtroom's drone, triumph rang thin. Her shift a note he couldn't retune, pulling him toward a life he'd cored without her echo. Chalk dust clung to Eli's fingers, the Austin sun slanting through his community center classroom as he scribbled scales on a board. 3 months past the court win. At 45, he stood steadier, the $50,000 reclaimed now, funding guitar lessons for East Side kids. His phone pinged. Javi. New grants in. Studios next. Eli grinned, faint, a framed copyright notice on the wall, his badge of reclaim. The photo, Carmen, Sophia, him, sat propped, edges curling in the Texas heat. I'm solid, he muttered, locking the door, the room's hum his own pulse. His screen flickered, Sophia's SoundCloud, no remixes, just her in their old garage. Raw roots, me, unplugged. Views ticked slow, 5K, her voice soft. Lost big, found me. She'd pivoted post-ruling, trading viral beats for truth. His win had dimmed her star, not her spine. He saw her at 20, crashing his couch after a gig flop. You're my net, Eli. Now she strung her own. Carmen lingered in the clinic. Her texts, call me, mijo, unread. A shadow he let fade. We're split, he said. The photos grins a Dia de los Muertos, echo. Sophia's pull long gone. Javi poked his head in. Another donor, $3,000. Eli nodded, sunlight warming the bare walls. He thrived here, lean, free, while Sophia rebuilt in her frame. Her garage tracks a nod to their old church jams, minus the theft. She's got grit, he rasped, boots tapping as he stretched, the photo catching his eye. Carmen's silence ached, but Eli's chords deepened, separate, not tangled. I'm enough, he growled. A piece with the sound he'd forged, the clinic a weight he'd set down, tugging him toward a porch he might face again. A porch light buzzed over the Torres bungalow, moths darting in its glow as Eli's truck rolled up. The Austin twilight, thick with cedar and regret. He climbed out, boots crunching gravel, the copyright notice folded in his pocket. 3 months since he'd won. Sophia stood there, 38th, strumming an acoustic under the sagging roof he'd patched, her unplugged track humming soft. The air hung heavy. The photo, Carmen, Sophia, him, burning his chest as he stepped up. She stopped mid-chord, guitar dropping, eyes narrowing, then easing. Didn't expect you, she said, voice taut, kicking a loose board. He leaned on the rail, firm. Had to, he rasped, throat dry. I messed up, Sophie, he said, words rough, hands flexing. Held you too tight. Sorry for that. Her jaw clenched, a flash of her SoundCloud smirk, then gone. I don't need sorry, Eli, she shot back, steady but frayed. Just needed you to hear me, not your echo. He winced, seeing her at 15, begging him to tweak her amp. You're the best, Eli, him barking. Do it yourself. She nodded at the guitar. This is me now, real, not stolen. Her tone wavered, a plea beneath the steel. You see it? He dipped his head, slow, the photo searing. Yeah, he said, and I respect it. Late, but true. She gripped the neck, knuckles white. He saw her at 22, sobbing over a failed gig. You're my rock. Now standing solo, unmoored. We're not fixed, he said, boots a scuffing back. Maybe never. She nodded, eyes on the gravel. But this holds, for now. The moths danced, a truce, not a mend, cedar scent thick between them. He turned, keys jangling, her shadow sharp against the light. Distant, steady. The ache softened, a calm he'd carry, pulling him toward a path he'd strum alone. Kids' laughter bounced off the community center's walls. The Austin sunset streaking cedar red as Eli locked the classroom door. Guitar case slung over his shoulder. 6 months since the porch truce. He stood taller at 45, hands scarred from restringing, $50,000 reborn into amps and lessons. His phone buzzed. Javi. Studio's live. Donors up 15%. Eli smirked. Faint. The copyright notice framed by the window. A hard-won scar. The photo, Carmen, Sophia, him, leaned against it, edges curling in the Texas dusk. I'm steady, he muttered, the lock clicking. Cedar air wrapping him tight. His screen glowed. Sophia's SoundCloud. No beats, just her strumming. Roots run quiet, me now. Views hovered at 6,000, her voice soft. Family bends, doesn't snap. She'd softened post-court, crafting truth from grit. His win had muted her hype, not her heart. He saw her at 16, biking beside him to choir. You're my wing, Eli. A wing he'd clipped, now flying free. Carmen lingered in the clinic, her calls rare, a ghost fading. Eli let her drift. We're apart, he said. The photos grins a Dia de los Muertos memory. Sophia's tug a distant note. He tapped the case, the block humming below, church bells, taco trucks. A rhythm he'd restrung. Sophia thrived her way. Carmen slipped, and Eli rose, roots split but deep. I'm enough, he rasped. The frame glinting. A nod to fights turned strength. The split had shaped them, not healed them. A quiet truth settling, pulling him toward a lesson he'd soon sing loud. A guitar string hummed low in the community center's quiet, the Austin night pooling dark beyond the glass as Eli leaned back, strumming a solo riff. 6 months had carved a truth. Worth wasn't Carmen's nod or Sophia's echo. It was his. Strung from betrayal's raw edge, he traced the framed copyright notice, the photo beside it, Carmen, Sophia, him. A Dia de los Muertos, relic split clean. I'm not their sound, he rasped, voice steady. Cedar breeze snaking through the cracked window. Sophia's latest track played soft. Her in the garage. Austin breaks you, builds you, family's messy tune. Her lens caught their rift. His steel, her grit, real and unplugged. He saw her at 13, harmonizing his first chord at church. You're my big bro, Eli. A bond he'd gripped, then cut loose. It's standing solo, he muttered. Clarity settling like dusk. Carmen faded, but Eli rose, maestro, not crutch. Sophia spun their fracture into strength, a mirror to his climb. He tapped the guitar neck. The blocks hum below, bells, kids' shouts, a rhythm he'd restrung. We're proof, he said, the photo glinting. A nod to pain turned power. And you, what's your riff? Eli faced theft, chose strings over blood, where's your break? Sophia tuned hurt into truth. What's yours? Drop it below, a time you stood or stayed muted too long. Hit like, subscribe. This Austin tale proves it. From snapped chords, you rise. Eli killed the lights. The notice firm. A quiet vow to keep strumming his beat, daring anyone listening to strike their own.